Huh. These poor guys were made out to be your basic cartoon cannon fodder in the 1980s G.I. Joe, a real American hero show. Today, let's change that. Well, hello there everybody, I'm Photo Dave and this is Toypixx, and whether this is your first or 100th time on the channel, Toypixx is all about helping you and helping me get a whole lot better at our action figure photography. So if that sounds cool to you, go ahead and click subscribe while I describe what this video is all about. For a long time, those Cobra Troopers have been G.I. Joe cannon fodder. They're just there in the background, they're filler. But when Classified came along and they made the Cobra Island Cobra Trooper, I looked at that thing and I thought, wow, that is scary. That is the kind of trooper that can give our Joes a run for their money. And so for today's video, I want to do a shot, a little behind the scenes of setting up those Cobra Troopers to look truly formidable, because frankly, I think they're probably my favorite troop builder, and people need to see them in action. So, let's get to it. And now, this might be the sloppiest setup you've ever seen for me to show you what all I'm possibly using for this shot, but we have right here a diorama from High School Creations. I'll be sure to link to his Etsy store in the description. Let's see, we have Neewer lights. I have two of those that I always use for these shots. These gels here, there's yellow, there's red, and there's cyan that go inside those lights to give certain colors of light that I might want to use. I don't know what I'll be doing today, but hey, who knows. We of course have the Mezco Double Trouble set for blast effects. We also have a lot more bullet and blast effects from, let's see here, Super Action Stuff, and they just came out with a new set that I'm definitely going to be getting. Can't wait for that. We have some cotton. That is an extension for those Neewer lights. Of course, we have 7 Cobra Troopers. Now don't worry, I didn't go nuts and spend like $50 on each of these things. I waited till Target had them ready to go last year. It took me forever because if you recall, you could only order one at a time. So once one got shipped, I'd order again. And I just ordered another off of Amazon because they had a decent deal. I'll make sure to leave that in the description below as well, and hopefully the deal's still going on. And then, of course, we have the reflector. I don't know if that'll get used. I don't know how much of any of this will get used. And finally, we have putty, which I don't have on here right now, but I'll use it if I need to stand any of the figures up. And one more thing, that is the ring light I use when I'm filming myself, right against the city backdrop so that it's not totally dark. And now, let's get setting this bad boy up. And folks, we have a setup. This is one of those Neewer lights with the cyan gel inside it. We've got, well, these are just kind of there. They'll be out of the shot, plenty out of frame. I added some rocks to give it a little more of a violent type thing, a little bit of cover with the unit on top of the dio. We've got these guys. I added this for some color in case it becomes necessary. But overall, let's see, oh, we've got the other Neewer light here shining down on them, and I'll end up using a reflector to bounce that light back onto this area where there's a lot of darks, right in here. So from there, I'll end up taking the shot probably at about this angle. I might squeeze them in a little bit more because I want to see all 4 fairly clearly, and I'm kind of digging this. Remember, the point of this shot was to make them look pretty formidable, and I think we've done it. I think that people can suitably be scared of these Cobra Island Cobra Troopers, especially this guy. He's not wearing a helmet, and he's just got 2 pistols. He is indeed your Huckleberry. So, I'm going to go ahead and take this shot, and the next time you'll see it, it'll be me playing in Photoshop. Okay, folks, here we are in Photoshop. Now, before we go any further, I just want you to know all I did so far was I simply copied the picture and placed it in a file that I already had that has the Toypixx logo, so I haven't done any work to it other than that. So now the point here is I'm going to make it look a little frightening. We're going to go a little movie look, so the lighter stuff will be more of an orange, and the darker stuff will be more of a cyan. I'll probably use some levels. I might use a gray fill adjustment layer to kind of knock it down and make it look a little more ominous. We'll see. Remember, the point here is to make these guys pretty freaky, and I'm pretty excited about the front Stormtrooper, the front Cobra Trooper, the one with the gunfire coming out there, because I didn't do anything there. That's just how the picture turned out, and it looks like I won't have to do anything to make it look like an actual gunshot. I'm pretty excited about that. So, let's zoom in just a touch here. Probably should get on Photoshop first. Okay. Now, our first adjustment layer is going to be a curves layer. And the curves layer is where I'm going to make it so that the lighter areas are a little more orange and the darker areas are a little bit more cyan. So the first thing we do is we click this little hand in the adjustment layer there. Now, we hold down Alt and we find a fairly light place on the picture. Not totally white, because it won't work if we do that, but something pretty light. And now we left click on the mouse and push up a little bit. And you can see the lighter stuff is getting a little more red because we're on the red channel there, which the opposite will be cyan. So now we find an area that's fairly dark, but not quite black. I'd say this little area of this trooper's pants here. So now we hold down Alt again, or Option. We click left side of the mouse and drag down. And you can see that it's getting a little more cyan in the darker areas that way. Now we're just going to skip the green channel. We'll go to the blue channel. And now we're going to do the same thing, except blue is up and yellow, which is the opposite there, is down. So the lighter areas we're actually going to hit Alt or Option, left click, and hold down. And that'll make it so we're getting a little more orange in those areas as far as the light areas are concerned. And we'll find the dark area, click Alt Option, and hold up or drag up. And now we're getting more blue again. So we've got a little bit more of an ominous look going on. I'll show you real quick what happens if we turn off the adjustment layer. We have that, or we have that when it's on. Now, one thing I'm going to do, I'm going to add a little more from the red channel, just because I want it to go a little more orange. And we'll also add a little more up here from yellow, just to give it that more ominous look. There we go. Okay, it's looking a little more movie-like that way. So now what we're going to do is we'll go in, do a slight levels adjustment. I don't want to get too nuts here. Remember, we want them freaky, we want them a little dark. We want people scared of these troopers. So with levels, you make the light areas lighter and you make the dark areas darker. So dragging just a little, we're making some of the light areas just a little lighter, not too crazy. And the darker areas going a little darker. There we go, not too crazy on there again. And now what we're going to do, oh yes, we're going to go to a solid color layer, adjustment layer, and we're going to go a fairly dark gray. And we're going to hit Command-C, so we copy the hexadecimal code, which is 1A, 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 hit OK, and we're going to left-click over on this side of the layer, and what that'll do is bring up all this craziness here. Now I'm going to push Alt or Option and click on this side on the bottom there, and what this is doing is it's going to make it so what I do with this layer won't affect what we're seeing underneath it like this. So you can see I'm dragging it so we see a lot of the light areas. So we hit OK. Now we're pretty dark. That's a little too dark. We want to see them a bit. But this is what I meant by we'll add a little more gray. See, that is without it. That's with it. We'll add a little more gray just to make them a little bit more ominous. So we'll land, I'd say about the 35, 36, somewhere in there. That's looking pretty freaky. And now we're going to add another solid color layer and paste that last gray that we had in there. And this time we're just going to go with lighten. And now everything that was dark, or that was black, or, you know, darker than what that gray color is, becomes that gray color. That's what lighten does. So we've got that going on, kind of freaky a little bit. And now one last thing we're going to do to add a little bit more freakiness is we're going to throw in this. Just a layer below those, we're going to grab that same gray, and we're going to add just a touch of gray vignette around the edge. Nothing too crazy. You can see I set the feather to 255, so we're not going super heavy. We're just going to make sure that the feather, it fades into it. Nothing too much, and we want to see a lot of it, so we have to kind of be judicious about what we want to show. So I selected that, and now I'm going to hit select, inverse, and now I'm going to fill with the foreground color, which is the gray that we've been using. And there, it's a little more frightening now. We can multiply, see what happens there, makes it a little darker. Now, one thing I want to do, even though I really like how scary and dark and all that this is looking, I kind of want to up the hue and saturation just a touch. Nothing too nuts, but let's see. Maybe what we'll do, instead of upping the hue and saturation on the whole picture, let's go to the blues and just up them. Look at that. Ooh. Ooh. Those are some scary dudes there. So we up that quite a bit, and now we're going to up the cyans quite a bit. Or bring them down. Let's see. Ooh, that's kind of scary too, if you take those down. But we don't want to do that. In fact, let's leave the cyans alone. See, half of Photoshop is just playing, trying to see what you really dig. We will grab the greens and take them down some. They seem to kind of be in the way a little bit. Do we want to lighten them? Yeah, sure. Let's lighten them just a touch. And here we are with some pretty frightening Cobra Troopers. This is where the fun's at. And now with that, I think we're pretty much set. So, there you are, folks. Looking at the final. And that, ladies and gentlemen, was today's video. Comment below and let me know what you think of the Cobra Island Cobra Trooper. And beyond that, let me know what your favorite army builder is. Because, hey, if you dig him and you're watching this channel, I might think they're pretty cool myself. And, might have to fill some of that pre-order time by getting some available figures. As always, I'll be leaving everything you saw in the video in the video description below. Those will be Amazon affiliate links, so anything you click to just check out, if you continue shopping by clicking those links, it'll help out Toypixx quite a bit. I appreciate that. And don't forget that July 12th and 13th is Amazon Prime Day, which is weird because you would think it would just be one of those, but they're calling it Prime Day. So, if you can't go shopping today, that's totally cool. Just remember Toypixx on July 12th and 13th. And folks, that's all I've got for you today. So, hey, as always, have fun and happy snapping. See ya.